can be Terraform. Terraform a lifeless rock into a lush and habitable world. Build trucks, trains and sprawling factory on an enormous planet. Grow its population to millions. Enjoy the dynamic simulation of atmosphere, temperature, water and forest. We actually first looked at this game 2 years ago on the channel. I had a blast at the time. It was a solo dev but super impressive. Now 2 years later, the game has been released in version 1.0 actually 1 month ago, and it sits at 91% positive on Steam, at least for the English reviews. I haven't really looked at Chinese or other language like this, but for English we're talking 91% positive. And honestly, yes, I've also retried a bit this version 1 and the game is really good. So let's dive right in. You have been mandated to manage the resource of this newly discovered planet. You must bring supply to the cities and manage terraforming projects. Good luck. Here is our new planet. We can see some ice on the poles. We can see also some mountains with other ice. So here is one of our, cities. There are usually 3 cities. Here it is 1, 2 and 3. Oh, we have Paris too. We have at the bottom over here some tutorials which will come. We're gonna have more and more tutorials in the future, but don't worry, I'll explain. We have our population right now across the whole world is 9, so really not that much. Temperature is really low. This is year 0, 20 years of Feb. You can pause, you can accelerate. We have the menu, the information is the tutorial there. We have the mini map. You can take it in or out. And this is obviously the Earth on the planet made flat. But if you zoom out, you'll be able to see the whole planet actually in this round form. And you can see also, by the way, some of the resources. So for example, here, this is a resource. This is aluminium ore. Here I can see some sulfur. I can see over here some iron. So there's going to be multiple deposits of resource. And last but not least, we have the enhanced view over here by pressing Alt. Well, actually, let me just do that. So here it is. With that, you can see the resources even, more easy. And we'll be able to also see the potential flow of water in the future because we're gonna terraform, right? So this is something to keep in mind. Particular, if I see my city over here, okay, so there's probably gonna be some water there, but not too much over here. Here there's also potentially some rivers close. So basically we're probably gonna have to also do a dam over here if we want to make sure that the water doesn't go too much into this city. But anyway, let's start with Paris. As you may know, I'm French, and we have all of our buildings at the bottom. At the beginning, we really don't have that many. Of course, in the future, we're gonna unlock much more. We also have, missions at the top over here. There is a completely sandbox, by the way, if you want to, but for this beginning, we're gonna start with the tutorial. It gives you some hints, tells you, a bit of an introduction, and more importantly, we have the objective over here. Produce 5 extractors in an assembly plant. So you may be like, okay, I have no clue how to do this. I mean, obviously, again, there is a tutorial here, but don't worry, I'm gonna show you how to do it. So let's find here, we have an iron deposit. This is what we need at the beginning. We have a couple of extractors. We're gonna place them here on these deposits of iron. You can, if you want, press, keep your left button of the mouse press, and then they're gonna build many. You can delete them, they'll be back in your inventory. So you don't have to worry too much if you're making mistake, it's totally fine. It will, come back, the resources. Then we're gonna need the depot, all right? And you can see the depot level 1 covers 1 tile around. So that's what we're doing over here. We're gonna unpause. Now they're going to start, getting some ore. And it's important to note that this is limited. Like these deposits here, for example, are 361, this one 339, this one is 600. So these are limited. So you have to keep that in mind. But as I said, remember that when you delete something, you get back, the buildings. So it is. We are starting to produce some iron ore, and then it's deposited in my depot, and so I can see we're storing 5, right? Then we're gonna want to build a factory to transform the iron ore into steel bar, 3 to 1. So here it is. And then we're gonna want to store these steel bars, right? So this is starting, we can see the drones, right? Each of these depot comes with a few drones. So that's what's happening, okay? And then we're gonna actually continue and go to the assembly plant, because if you remember, that's what they were saying. In the assembly plant, we can start building some extractors and some depots. So let's start with this. You'll see that now, right, this is producing, as I said, steel bars. The steel bars goes into this depot, then it will go into this assembly plant, where as soon as there is 3 steel bars, it will create 1 extractor. And so here, if you see I have 1 extractor, soon that should move to 2. Let's accelerate the time. Here it is. It's at 2 now. So we're starting to produce extractors. That's the mission. I'm gonna do something quick, which is we are gonna click on the star here to put this building in my favorites, and same for this one. So now if I go over here, I can see all of these at once. All right, so that's pretty good. This is now starting, so I can, do the same up, and oh, we finished the first mission. Now we've learned how to build extractors. They're gonna tell us how to build new factories. So this is the next mission, is to build factories. But first, before there, let's actually use one of these factory to make steel bars again. Okay, and this time though, we're going to make the depots. So this is the basic. It's going to create some extractors and some depots. So those 2 things here. So now how do we create the factory, or actually also the assembly plant? We're gonna need some mechanical parts. How do we make mechanical parts? Well, of course, you can find this in the tutorial, or you can find it in many places, but I know it, so I'm just gonna show you. Now the start is actually the same. We're gonna need some extraction capabilities with a depot. Perfect. We're gonna need to make steel bars, so we need steel bars here. And by the way, you can, if you want, copy this thing. So it's Control C and then Control V. All right, you can do this to go faster. Then we're gonna put actually another factory, but this time instead of selecting steel bars, we're gonna select mechanical parts, because it is actually taking the steel bars we just made and making mechanical parts. So then we're gonna need obviously a depot, this time for mechanical parts. Then we can have the assembly to make factories, or if I want, I can change it to make also assembly plants. And this obviously doesn't require any depots. These kind of like more blueprints, they're created there, and you're fine. So it is with that, we are creating all 4 of the basic stuff, right? We have some extractors over here, some depots, some factories. Now this is not gonna run at 100%, it's not optimized, because obviously we're producing only, what is it? It says 30 per annum. And this is taking 3 mechanical parts. This is only making 1 to 1. So anyway, this is starting. We're almost there already. You can sort of see what's coming later, but you cannot actually even see what the mission will be. But we can see we're gonna start playing with concrete, road, trucks, supply centers. So let me actually prepare for that. We have new Paris there. We have some concrete here, so that's probably what we'll do. Let's take a second also to look at our map. Now, if I really wanted to optimize, I should probably, really start looking at where the potential oceans are gonna be and things like this. But for now, it's fine. We don't have to worry too much about this. Okay, where is it? You can actually, in the future, also put kind of waypoints to go back directly there. But anyway, we're fine. I could also continue expanding if I wanted. right? Like for example, instead of having one like this, maybe what we do is we just copy that. Great. A scientific team has developed a new way to produce concrete from the sulfur. Your cities will need that to grow. So that's the next mission. We're gonna want to have one city or reach a total of 20 of population, either in one city or in multiple. So Control C, Control V. Then actually, I remember there was a way to copy many things at once. What was the way? I forgot. Was it like this? Yeah, you select everything, copy, and paste. That is really not needed. Delete that one, delete that one. So this way, we're gonna produce even more, right, of these resources. Okay, this is starting to work well. So we don't need this. We are going to go to the concrete over here. And this is the same extractors. But this time they're making concrete, or they're gathering sulfur to be precise. Then we're gonna want factory, but this time we're gonna transform the sulfur into concrete. We need to store it, and then we're going to transport it with roads and trucks. Now, unfortunately for the trucks, we don't have any, so we need to first build trucks, right? So to build trucks, this is actually over here. We're gonna do the same thing I just did now, which is not really easy. Up, copy, paste. But here, instead of that, you're gonna say make trucks, okay? And we need a couple of extractors. It's probably not a lot. Let me add some more extractors by doing something like this. So you see, it's gonna take resources there, send them there, and then all the way down. Okay, so with that, we're gonna start making trucks. Then we also need to make some roads, right? And by the way, let's add this to my favorites. So for the roads, we need some concrete. So good thing we are starting to make some concrete there. But actually, I think what we're gonna do is just copy that, paste it there. Perfect. So this is a bit more concrete, but this time we're gonna transform this concrete, not transform this concrete, sorry. My bad. Transform here. Wrong one. Into roads, and actually I also need some supply centers. I don't need that many though. So that one, what we're gonna do is we're actually going to click on it. Then we click on the small number at the bottom here. It says we have 1 out of infinite. Well, instead of infinite, we're gonna say maybe construct 20. And when we have 20, basically this is gonna stop and it's only gonna make road. Okay, so now we have a couple of roads, not that many, but that's okay, we can start. We're gonna want to go all the way there. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's a bit red because it's too far. We don't have enough road yet, but we can start the road if we want. Thinking, gonna go somewhere over here. Slowly but surely, you can see this road is becoming greener and greener as we create more. Actually, let's go maybe to the city first, create that. So this is a supply center. It's going to supply things to the city. Right now, my city is very small. You know, there's only 3 people living there. They don't have any space and they don't have resource to expand, which is why they want some concrete to expand. Right? So we're gonna have a supply center and we're gonna have a depot that needs to be in range of the supply center. Right? If it's not in range, obviously it's gonna be useless. I'm gonna say concrete. And now again, this is where we need the road to transport from this concrete depot to that concrete depot, basically. All right. Then you'll click on the truck and you're gonna say it needs to start over here and it needs to end there. So we have now created a road that's going to go, you know, the trucks are going to go back and forth. You can see one truck has already arrived because there's only one. Now we can do things like reverse, change the destination, etc. Or we can also increase the number of trucks. So if you have enough trucks, right? So this is why you need to build trucks too. But here it is. Now I have 11 trucks, so that's going to start delivering a lot quicker. And you can see we have some reserves in the supply center. So it's now satisfactory 100%, you know, they are happy. And more importantly, we have some reserve there. So it shows us we're definitely making enough right now. But do keep in mind that this is limited. So at some point it will stop actually, right? We need to keep that in mind. But for now, all good. And so because of this, the city is slowly but surely growing. You know, now 5 of population. We have this new tile that's been taken, you know, by these aeolians. Sometime it will be or wind turbines. Sometime it will be, you know, house. It's different asset. And yeah, the great thing is because we've automated the production over here of every single thing, we have now reserves of everything ready kind of for the next expansion. Speaking of which, the next expansion I know will require couple of different things. Here we have all 3 resources. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. We have the aluminium. Oh no, this is fluoride. Sorry, I'm looking for aluminium. Where is aluminium? Over here, I'm guessing. Yes. So here we have aluminium. Okay. Over here too, we have all 3 resources not too far from each other. Where else? In Paris, I don't see. Oh, there is some aluminium here. Okay, but there's no iron close by there. Here. Well done. To grow further, the city will need oxygen. Their own generators won't be enough. So yeah, we've unlocked many things. And here, this is, you know, when you do unlock many things like this, it's a good idea, in my opinion, to look quickly at it, right? So aluminium bars made in the factory from aluminium ore. Carbon, it's made from the atmospheric extractors. Oxygen, also made from the atmospheric extractors. The atmospheric extractors is a new building that is made out of mechanical parts. We know that. And aluminium bar, we just saw this. And landmark tower, that's what I was saying before. You know, you can place them to quickly go back to a specific place. Now we need to reach 50 of population, which, you know, you can do by growing each of your cities a bit bigger, or you can focus on just one city and growing it even further. The thing though is, you know, while the city right now is at 17, when it reaches 20, it will require one more thing. Instead of concrete, it will require concrete and oxygen. So this is why we have to start making oxygen, which is where? Where's my oxygen? Here. So let's go. As I said, we're gonna need some aluminium for that. And I think we have aluminium there. The problem is the train. It's gonna be a pretty long road. That's not great. This is fluoride. I can't believe I don't have any aluminium anywhere close, but okay. So let's go. We're gonna gather some aluminium. Maybe we go a bit crazy. I'm gonna do all of this. So we're gonna say you get this, you get that, and same here. Okay, so it's starting to gather quite a bit, and then, you know, kind of bring everything here. And then here we're gonna transform, and we don't have to transform with just one. You know, I can also have multiple, something like this, if I want. Not like I have to, but if you want to go crazy, you know, you can. So it is. Now we're creating aluminum bars, and we basically need to then create a road. That's gonna go probably like that. And we go around. I don't really have a choice. So it's gonna use a long road, to be honest. And we said we need some mechanical parts, so we're gonna need to go somewhere around here. Okay, so for now let's pause it. Let's do something similar on this side. To get bit more resource. We're gonna need to transform that into steel. And then steel will go here. And then we said we're transforming that into mechanical parts. I'm gonna have 2. And that's the mechanical parts. And here we said we're gonna have the aluminum bars. We need to start transporting them. So let's go. That's definitely gonna take a few trucks if we want to deliver quickly. And then we're gonna take our assembly plant. Let me see if I can. I wasn't really smart there, sorry. To make some atmospheric extractors. So here it is. This is the first building that takes 2 different things, so both mechanical parts and aluminum bars, to create something. In this case, the atmospheric extractors. And so if we go here, we can see that we already have 2. So now we can go back to our city over here. And I'm gonna do it quick and dirty now. In the future, again, we're gonna need to be smarter. But we're gonna create small reserves here. Up. We're going to, either we can deliver to the same supply center, or we can also definitely put another supply center like this. And in this case, we don't even need to put any trucks, right? It will deliver just directly. So it is. This supply center, says it doesn't have oxygen, it has concrete, but this one over here now says, okay, oxygen is done. Perfect. So we're moving to satisfactory 100%. And as I said, you will definitely not just want or can, you will need multiple supply centers if you want to keep up with the demand. Like right now the demand is 11, 12. As the city grows, it will become more and more. And you can see this is 15. So obviously this is completely overkill right now, but I guarantee you in the future it won't be overkill. You'll need way more than this. Okay. Right now, temperature is still very low. We don't have any trees, any rivers or anything like this. We haven't really started the terraforming, but we have started definitely to grow the city. We've started also to produce many things, right? Basic stuff, but also slightly more advanced over here. Clearly, you can see also what the bottleneck is. Like, you have a lot of reserves of aluminium. You have 0 reserve of mechanical parts. So this is currently the bottleneck for this production. Okay, level 4 finished. Let's see level 5. We have just invented a stronger concrete. It will help cities to build higher buildings. So it is, we've unlocked 3 things. We've unlocked the polymer bars, which are made out of carbon, which was in those extractors. We have the reinforced concrete, which is going to be made out of concrete and steel bar. And then we have the depot Mark II, which will have a 2x range. It will take the aluminum bars and the polymer bars. Not even the reinforced concrete, actually. But the reinforced concrete will be useful, though, to help us reach a population of 100. So, polymer bars, we said, is out of carbon with aluminum. So let me show you that quickly. We're going to go over here. Gonna add a couple of carbon productions. Let's go. So you're gonna be carbon. Perfect. So it is. We're starting to make some carbon, right? Then we're going to actually do this. So I can put a couple of factories here to make polymer bars. And then we're going to do this. Okay. Then we said we want a bit of aluminium. So, let me do this like that. And let's do this like that. Okay. And then in the middle, we're going to put some assembly to make those depot Mark II. Okay. So it is. Now this is able, and you know, if I want to be slightly, do that too. Okay, so this way I have even more drones to deliver to both of these. So with this, we're making Depot Mark II. So we can almost, you know, to be honest, forget about the Depot Mark I, as long as we have enough Depot Mark II. So here it is. You can see the range is way bigger. So in particular, this is really useful for the extractors, because now you can go deeper, right? I can have an extractor, I can put it here, and I can have all those 3 extractors or 4 extractors are linked to it. So this is definitely a lot more powerful. Okay, as I said, I think we can basically pause this, not really need it anymore. We can focus just on the Mark II. But the mission was to increase our population, right? So let's go back to Paris and see what's happening. Now in Paris, we're back to a 50% supply. Why? Because not only they want oxygen, but instead of normal concrete, they want reinforced concrete, which is concrete plus steel, right? So we're gonna need to make that. The good thing is, I mean, I guess we have, let me see, we have this that is unused. Maybe we delete that. That was a bit dumb what I did. I just wasted some, but the resources are not there. Because yeah, we wasted a bit of resource here. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was to go more over here with the Mark II. We're gonna transform this into steel bars. And again, you know, I can be steel bars. Here, Mark I is actually fine, you know, even if it could be useful in the future, even for the building there, but that's okay. So we have that, and we're gonna need to bring some sulfur. So let's go to, sulfur. Let's be on pretty big like this. Okay, nice. Then we can connect this road to the road that already exists. Now there's no need to create a new road, especially because if I'm not mistaken, trucks can actually kind of go on top of each other, sort of. But let's do it a bit cleanly like this. Okay, so we're going to have so this is going to be concrete, actually, not sulfur. Sorry, my bad. Was a bit hasty over here. So let's delete this. We need factory to transform into concrete. Then we can put a Mark II here for the concrete. Trucks start over here. Go all the way there, please. Let's put 10 on it. No, not 2, 10, please. Okay. And then here we're gonna need to create that one. Yes. So this is fine. It should all be in range, yes. And then you put a Mark II here for the reinforced concrete. And then we need to send that to here. Okay. And we're gonna need, I mean, we can keep that one even if right now it's basically useless. And let's put one over here with a depot for the reinforced concrete. Perfect. And then basically truck up from here to there. Put 10. And it's gonna take a second. Oh no, look at this. It's already there. I was going to say it's gonna take a second, but no. These guys were fast. So now we should be happy 100%. So the city is going to continue growing. The demand is going to continue increasing. So we need to make sure you know, we see that. But so far so good. So far so good. And it is time to start terraforming. Our ultimate goal, make this planet suitable for life with oceans, plant and breathable air. First step is to raise the temperature. Produce and release some SF6, a very powerful greenhouse gas. It's basically the opposite of what, you know, we've done on Earth, because obviously on Earth we were already at a habitable temperature. We didn't want to raise it further, but here we need to raise it. So we need some greenhouse gases. And this is, as he said, just the first step, right? Then it's gonna be also about the oceans, the plants, where like we're gonna plant trees and all of those things. So I hope you're excited by this. As you can see, the next mission has nothing to do with, you know, our people. It's not about growing their cities or whatnot. It's to increase the temperature by 1 degree. And this is gonna come with new challenges for sure. But I think this will be in the next episode, ladies and gents. I hope you're enjoying this one. As I said, this is the basics. We focus on creating, right, what we need to grow, like some extractors, some factories, etc. I've showed you trucks. Obviously, this is only the first transport method. We're gonna have trains and other things in the future. And we've started to even produce some resource, I would say, out of thin air, like the oxygen, right? And now we're gonna move to the actual terraforming. So I hope you're excited by this. As I said, we're gonna continue this series. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe the day after. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss it. And please do tell me also in the comments below, you know, if you're excited with this one, if you've played it before. Please smash like button and really does help. And I hope to see you next time.